The Unborn Victims of Violence Act, UVVA of 2004, provides a compelling legal precedent that acknowledges the personhood of an unborn child in the United States. This law explicitly recognizes that when a violent crime results in the death or injury of an unborn child, a separate offense has been committed, not merely an injury against the mother, but against a distinct human being. This fundamentally undermines the logic of abortion, exposing its hypocrisy. Under federal law, the moral and legal status of an unborn child is not determined by the child's nature as a human being, but rather by the subjective will of the mother. The legal text of the UVVA. To highlight this contradiction, consider the actual language of the Unborn Victims of Violence Act, which states, "Whoever engages in conduct that violates any of the provisions of law listed in subsection B and thereby causes the death of or bodily injury, as defined in section 1365, to a child who is in utero at the time the conduct takes place, is guilty of a separate offense under this section." The law explicitly defines the unborn child as a member of the species Homo sapiens at any stage of development who is carried in the womb. The law further clarifies that nothing in this section shall be construed to permit the prosecution, 1, of any person for conduct relating to an abortion for which the consent of the pregnant woman or a person authorized by law to act on her behalf has been obtained or for which such consent is implied by law. This means that if a criminal harms or kills an unborn child, it is considered homicide or assault. However, if an abortionist kills the same unborn child, it is legally protected as a medical procedure. The sole factor determining whether the unborn child is treated as a victim or disposable tissue is not its scientific status as a human being, but the mother's intent. This contradiction reveals that the law acknowledges an unborn child's right to life only when the mother desires the child. If human rights are contingent upon another person's emotions, they cease to be rights and instead become privileges granted at will. This is not how a just legal system should function. The hypocrisy of legalized abortion. The contradiction at the heart of the abortion debate is this: if an unborn child can be the victim of homicide when killed by an assailant, why does the law deny that same child personhood if their mother consents to their death? The determining factor in whether an unborn baby has rights is not their biology, their humanity, or their viability. It is merely the intention of the mother. If she wants the child, it is legally recognized as a human victim. If she does not, it is labeled as a disposable choice. This means that legal personhood is not determined by objective science, but by fluctuating personal desire. This is an arbitrary and irrational standard that has no place in a society that claims to recognize human rights as intrinsic and inalienable. Moreover, this contradiction is so blatant that it leads to absurd legal consequences. In some cases, a man who attacks a pregnant woman, causing her to lose the child, can be charged with double homicide, even if the pregnancy was only a few weeks along. Yet, in a Planned Parenthood clinic, that same child can be legally dismembered with no penalty whatsoever. This exposes the fundamental inconsistency of abortion laws. They are not based on science or objective principles of human dignity, but on a shifting moral relativism dictated by convenience and political expediency. Embryology proves the unborn child is a distinct human being. Abortion advocates attempt to dehumanize the unborn by calling it a clump of cells or even a parasite, but modern embryology leaves no room for such claims. The moment fertilization occurs, a new human being comes into existence. This is a scientific fact, not a philosophical or religious opinion. Here's why. 1. Unique DNA. From the moment of conception, the unborn child has a completely unique genetic code, distinct from both the mother and the father. This means the unborn child is not simply an extension of the mother's body. It is a separate organism, a new member of the species Homo sapiens. 2. Self-directed development. Unlike a parasite, which is a foreign organism invading a host, an embryo directs its own development from within. It does not take over the mother's body, but rather follows a genetic blueprint that will lead to its full maturation. 3. Species classification. According to the biological definition of life, The unborn child meets all criteria. It grows, metabolizes nutrients, responds to stimuli, and maintains homeostasis. At no point in human development from conception onward does an individual change into a different species. A human embryo is not a potential human any more than a toddler is a potential person. The embryo already is a human being in an early stage of development, just as an infant or adolescent is at another stage of human life. 4. Heartbeat and brain activity. A baby's heartbeat begins at around 21 days, and brain waves can be detected by 6 weeks, well before most women even realize they are pregnant. If the absence of a heartbeat or brain waves is used to declare someone dead, why is the presence of both not used to declare someone alive? Abortion is the ultimate violation of human rights. Every major historical injustice, from slavery to genocide, has been justified by denying the personhood of the victims. The argument that the unborn are not persons follows the same path of dehumanization that has been used to strip others of their rights throughout history. The UVVA reveals that even federal law implicitly recognizes the humanity of the unborn. The only thing standing in the way of consistent legal protection is the arbitrary and dangerous notion that a mother's feelings alone determine the child's worth. Human rights should not be granted or denied based on whether someone is wanted. They exist because of what we are, human beings. The fact that abortion denies this most fundamental truth is why it remains one of the greatest hypocrisies in modern law.